From the country that brought you Rami Malek and Hoda Kotb,
It's a conundrum.
with Sam Taha.
Kif, we have a conundrum.
Hello, and welcome to Sam Taha's Conundrum Podcast, Bay Area Edition. I'm in San Francisco right now, competing for this weird competition that it's going well. I'm telling myself that it's going well because I'm been beating myself out about shit. But I'm here in San Francisco for these next 4 days with my guest my guest today for this episode, Alli Goldberg. I've met Alli through comedy. It's actually our 1-year friendship anniversary. We met on 9/11, no relation, and then we just hit it off. She's a hard worker. She has ADHD. She is so hard on herself. All of these things I relate to a lot, which made this friendship great. She's very supportive. Like, I'm here in San Francisco staying at one of her friends' place just because she managed to hook me up with these very nice people that are opening their house for me and my dumb camels and pyramids jokes. And I'm very grateful for her and her resourcefulness. So many words of wisdom happen between us every time I beat myself up about not being perfect enough, and likewise for her. I was always very fascinated by her ability to get stuff done, and that always keeps impressing me with her. And also at the same time, it's nice to see somebody being that much of a go-getter and seeing the negative, how hard she is on herself the entire time. She has insomnia, which is a very nice, it taught me a lot about insomnia. I learned that through her struggle with it. And I've seen my firsthand her before bed routine and morning routine, so it's going to be very interesting to talk about. It's going to be a fun episode, and this was an intro that I recorded while she is on the phone putting more fires. So, and she's here. Okay, great.
Well,
it's supposed to be really casual.
It's a very exciting weekend because it is our year anniversary. And for your listeners, Sam, I believe that you do not learn anyone's true colors until 1 year. So you can think someone's really amazing and fun, but at 1 year you find out if they're a secret psycho. And I have found out many people are a secret psycho, which I think maybe says more about me than about them. Like, I think I'm not a good judge of character. And then it turns out people are psychos.
You have a healthy attitude about not taking people as their mistake, just taking people as a whole. And I think that's very healthy. It's just that I think sometimes whenever you see that this relationship or something happened, you turn the blame on you.
No, not necessarily. Some of the psychos, I blame them. They're crazy.
Okay.
But okay, it's not that I necessarily blame myself. Like, I have one friend where a year in, I was like, oh, you are psycho. I mean, I feel bad for her. She has so many issues. But, like, I still have anxiety about my interactions within it. Can I help? Can I not help? What's going on? So I still have anxiety, but it's not necessarily like blame. Also, there's a period of time in which I'm like, is this person going through an acute issue that I can help with? Or does this person have long-term problems that are out of my league and I'm going to bow out? I've encountered both of those situations.
Yeah. I think of it as a car, its exterior, and the motor. You can have the car that looks like a Porsche, looks great, but it has a shitty motor. It's not going to go anywhere. And a car that is shitty from the outside, but a great motor, that will take you places.
Yeah.
Once we disagree on like the fight that you have with that specific friend that's been a year, it's almost like there's a communication issue. You can't see my way, and you thought the worst of me, and there's no way that there's nothing I can do to change your mind about it. That's a deal breaker. Like, there's nothing you can, there's no conversation that you can have.
Well, I wasn't even talking about this current situation where I currently am in a fight with someone. That's gonna resolve. That's fine. But I have a friend in particular where, like, she keeps it together looks like a Porsche, and then she's got like a lot of serious mental health issues. And then, yeah, she's got, I have some friends with some very serious like mental health and drug issues.
Humans.
And then there's the issue of like, how much do you try to help and how much are you like, this is out of my league. Yeah. Well, okay, I really like your car analogy. My friend Mike has this great, I'm probably sounding like a bitch, but my friend Mike has this great, it's not an analogy. I guess it's an analogy, but he says that like there's relationship capital and there's friendship capital. So he says, like he was joking about his fiance. He was like, there's this party I really want to go to and I can go, but I have to understand it's going to use up some of my capital and I might need some of that capital later. You know what I mean?
I like
And then
that.
there's friendship capital too. And I think it's a great point where he's like, you can use your capital, but there's only so much capital you have, you know, and you have to use it and you have to put some back in, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, because I do believe that you should be there for your friends and people are going to have tough times. But if you keep spending, eventually you're out of funds.
Yeah. You get spent.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with that a lot in the past. I got a job in 2019 where I was working at, we can't mention the name of the company because I signed an NDA. But
Okay,
like
but what if you just like find something that rhymes?
Oh,
Like instead
it's
of-
not a pineapple.
Oh, you're working for Apple?
Jesus Christ. She said it, not me. Yeah.
He was working for Snapple.
I was working for Snapple, translating for their
Schnapple.
lids, whatever.
Mapple. You were writing jokes for their lids?
Yes, well, let's say
Great.
that. But they wanted international jokes.
Okay.
So I was like, the office was just, oh, this guy's from Ukraine, this girl is from Russia, this guy's from Holland.
Wait, this is real.
This is real, yeah.
Okay. What were you doing for not...
For not
Melons.
that company, yeah. I was working on subtitles for them because they had like this store that had stuff playing on it that required different subtitles.
Yeah.
Different. Anyways, the job was very international, and I love this so much. Like I love being in international environments.
Yeah.
And I back then was like more of my social butterfly self, and I know everyone's name. And I know a piece of information about their life, the name of their partner, something that we talked about this last time. And I have all of this in the back of my mind. And every single day I would go, there was not a lot of work at the job itself. So there's a lot of socialization. And I'm out talking to everyone. Me and this person,
Honestly,
we
it
have
sounds
this.
like a fun job.
It was a fun job, but about 7 or 8 months in,
Yeah.
I don't have the energy. To every time I'm going to the fridge, there is 17. Hey, what you doing? How's your wife?
Well, that's on
the
you.
car. And
But then you got to start to be antisocial and ignore people.
oh my God, I'm just like, I get off my desk, my eyes don't leave the floor until I get to the fridge, get the water, come back. Like there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
Because I would go home after a 12-hour day and driving, and I'm exhausted. I can't even think of anything because I've wasted all of my energy being nice and approachable. And it's like, okay, great. People like you, but now you don't have energy to even like yourself.
Yeah.
So my brain goes into, you piece of shit. You fucked up that piece of conversation.
Yeah.
How could you say this when she said that?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
We were talking about relationship and friendship capital.
Oh,
But you were just talking about spending energy.
Just
like a
I
little
feel
different.
it that way. I feel it almost that way. Even if you spend stuff that is not, this is social capital.
There's just only so much time and energy you have.
Say that again?
There's just so much time and energy that every person has. I have another friend who has a similar point about like relationship and social capital, where he was like, because there was a period of time where I had a lot of friends going through crises, and I like kind of wanted to be there for
Mental
them.
crises
Like,
or
both like mental and also just like some bad stuff, like, to be fair, but I had people relying on me where I was like, I don't even consider us that close, you know what I mean? So my other friend was like, I like that you lifted up your microphone just to giggle. You're like, haha. But he was like, you only have so much bandwidth for people. You can't, like, if there's someone that you're not actually that close with who's relying on you too much, like, that's going to suck up your time for when this person that you are closer with needs help. So I don't know. I feel like I sound like I'm being bitchy. I want to be there for people, but then some people, it's like too much.
Coffee
break.
Coffee
Keep
break.
talking.
Okay. My thing that I keep saying is that you can't save everyone.
Yeah.
Even Noah saved 2 of each. And in a way, you are the product of the 5 closest person to you, 5 closest people to you.
Moving this out of screen, cleaning up over here.
You
The
know
product
this.
of the 5 people.
By the way, she
I
has
think about-
ADHD. That's the dynamic of this relationship.
Yeah, no,
We'll be
I
all over
have
the
to
place.
be running around at all
Okay.
times, you know.
Uh,
But
you can't save everyone. You only have to save 2 of each. You are the closest to the your personality is basically a cocktail
yeah,
of all the 5 your closest 5 friends.
I think about that all the time when I'm swiping on Hinge. I'm like, could this can't possibly be one of my 5 influences. This person can't even spell. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is really like, you know, I just think about that when I'm swiping.
I think about this when I feel like that's to bring it back to the friendship stuff. It's like I would have deal breakers before a year because I'm realizing that you're not top 5. I can't. You're great, but I
Yeah.
can't have you in my top 5 because we can't. Like sometimes when we argue about things,
Yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah.
We're not.
Me and you?
We're not contentious. Yeah.
When do we argue?
Well, not argue, but like almost like disagreeing points of view.
Yeah.
We know how to do it amicably. I've
Yeah.
had friends where if you don't agree with me, fuck you.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
it's
I
just
can't
like
deal with
straight.
that.
And I'm like, you might be a great person.
Yeah.
I didn't get to know you that much, but I can't go forward with this.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, This
yeah.
is a roadblock turnaround.
Oh no, I agree with that.
And that doesn't take. Sometimes it takes a couple of months. for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. No,
Like,
there are
it doesn't
definitely
have
people
to
I've
stay
written
a year.
off before a year, but I find that there are people that I like adore for a year, and then they show me their true colors.
I've had that too. I've had that too, and it made me feel like a piece of shit because I was like, then there's no one. So everyone is bad.
No, not everyone, but I do have a theory that a year in. Well, for dating, it's like 2 months in they show you their true colors. For friendships, it takes a year. But here's the other thing: is like some arguments are totally fine and fair, and you can have arguments, and that's fine. Like the girl that I'm arguing with right now, I think it's going to be reasonable and resolved, hopefully. But yeah, I have one friend where she was just keeping her mental health problems under wraps, and about a year in, she started like screaming at me in the street, and I was like, "This is no good." No good. No good. But I do think maybe I need to be more, when you think about like that 5 friend formula, I think I only want to be friends with people that make me laugh. Like maybe everybody else got to go.
I don't.
Because here's my thing. When I do make a friend, it's till we die.
Yeah, I can tell.
You know what I mean?
But if you make a friend that passes the 1 year mark,
They got to pass the 1 year,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we're
yeah.
friends till we die.
yeah.
Like, I don't understand
I can
people who
see
have
that.
friends for different times and places. I'm like, no, if we're friends till we die.
What happened to me is that I had friends in high school and college that I thought like we were friends for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to see these guys in their wedding nights and like we're
Yeah.
going to be together forever. And then we had a fight and we ended up like one of them sided with the other and then we just kind of drifted apart.
I know what this fight is, right?
I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast before, not that I want to.
Maybe I think if you told me, I think
I
you've
think
told
so.
me.
I think
Okay.
so.
'Cause that's a tricky one.
It was. I'm not blaming them, but what I'm saying is that it almost shattered this friend for life attitude that I have because I saw like,
Yeah.
oh my god, even these guys, 10 years in, we're
Yeah,
so
no, I
close.
had that. I had a falling out with a friend after 20 years, and it was like worse than any breakup, and it was
Yeah.
devastating.
Oh yeah.
It fucked me up for like a while. I think I'm better now, but it fucked me up for a while where I was like, well, anyone can give up at you at any point, so
Yeah.
fuck them all. Yeah.
And this played right into my abandonment issues too, because like my biggest abandonment is like your mom would leave, which
Mm-hmm.
is like the thing that shouldn't leave. It's still left, so I've already had this shattered.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had these friends, I almost put all of my insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
ignored them, and be like, this is it, friends. Fuck family. We're just gonna do friends.
Yeah.
And these are good friends, and they've stood with me so many times. And I still remember like one of these friends. I was going to a wedding. He lives close, but not that close. And I like what my outfit didn't have the right tie in it or something, and he came and drove all the way to just give me a tie.
Yeah.
And so they were great friends, and I would never have seen this coming.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came, it just immediately went back to my abandonment issues that was standing there the entire time watching. And he's like, "Yep, I told you, you were right. Yep, no one.
Yeah.
No one is forever.
No, it's very scarring.
It is."
That makes sense.
Add that to my usual relationship issues of not getting in any. It's like the abandonment issues are already the greatest thing, the greatest fear, one of the greatest fears in the back of my head. and it makes
I'll never
it,
leave you unless you do something really fucked up. Then I'm out of here. I'm out of
we'll
here.
see. We'll see. Maybe
I'm
I'll
outta
leave
here.
you. Maybe I'll leave you. This is, who knows? Who knows?
Not if I occupy your territory.
You again?
Then you can't.
Don't come to Sinai. Stay in
Then
Palestine.
you can't. So
Oh, she's Jewish, by the way. That's a very interesting aspect of our relationship that was
it's
brought
actually
up.
not that interesting. I just think it's fun.
I don't think, like, when I...
You know what I mean? Like I actually have like ton of Muslim. Actually, what's weird is I have like a fair number of like really good Egyptian friends in particular.
Yeah. You went to Egypt.
Because
Yeah, that's another...
just because I stayed in touch with this one girl forever.
Wait, actually, let's talk about this more. This is
Yeah.
relevant to my podcast since
Okay.
I'm from Egypt and you went to my country.
I
which
did. I
is,
went to your country.
very
How many friends do you have that have been to your country?
that are
I'm just trying to
knowledgeable,
get points.
that are not asking me camels and pyramids questions,
Yeah.
that are aware of the culture and
Yeah.
understand the dynamic of our society in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Egyptians from Egypt. Really.
No, so you have a ton, but here.
Here, no one.
Yes.
Here, like, it's even...
So I'm the best, is what you're saying.
I guess.
For like with a low bar, like a really low bar, but like I'm the best in like that really low bar. Because also I went like a good, I don't know, 15 years ago. Like my knowledge is very outdated.
If we're being like serious about this, it's extra points for you because you're like white and Jewish and you understand our culture, which is...
That's what I'm...
And you don't have a biased point of view about it, which is
That's good.
I like, because I don't think I have a biased point of view about it. I'm a little bit biased.
You're talking
by
about the conflict in particular?
in general,
Yeah.
the subject, because
I just think like I think anyone who doesn't recognize how complex the Middle East is an idiot. You know what I mean?
Like,
Like
you know what it reminds me of?
you're an idiot.
When you don't get the Middle Eastern the Middle East conflict,
Yeah.
it almost seems exactly like I was telling you yesterday.
Yeah.
When somebody gets in my car
Yeah.
and their door gets stuck on the
Yeah.
curb,
And they just lift up their
and
butts.
then they
like
lift
that's
up
gonna
their
help.
butts as if that's gonna help. It's almost the same naivete.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, so you think
It's
that
like,
you thought
what
about this?
logic? What about logic?
No, it's just
Yeah.
like that you think that you can think about this for 10 minutes
Yeah.
and be like, I have a solution, and people have been thinking about this since the 40s.
Yeah.
Have not figured it out, and you're like,
Since
yeah,
before
I,
then, really.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, the conflict started 48. So we'll see from there.
Well, I would say it would even started before that. When
Um,
the Jews first started settling in the late 1800s, I would say that's when things really began. This is a long-term
Really?
conflict.
You have studies in Middle
Yeah.
Eastern.
Well, okay. I think what was helpful for me is I grew up with a very biased perspective. So I grew up in a very Jewish community where I was told that like Palestinians were evil
Yeah.
and that Israel needs to exist and we would celebrate Israel and blah, 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 blah. But then you grow up, you know what I mean? And I went to college and I was like, well, I feel like it would be good if I learned what the other side had to say. Well, and I also met my friend Raja in college, who's Palestinian.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first things he said to me is, my name is Raja. And then he paused and said, like the tiger in Aladdin. And I was like, oh, we'll be friends. We'll be friends. So that's why I was like 20. Like, that's a great, I guess I actually think I must have been, I didn't meet him freshman year. Maybe I was 19.
Wait, you met him here?
I met him at Yale.
And Yale, okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if I've ever told him this, but when I found out he was Palestinian, like my gut reaction like was fear.
Oh, interesting.
Because it was so trained in me.
Yeah.
And he's just like the nicest fucking dude in the whole world. So I think that was, which also I think speaks to, like I think some of the most interesting peace programs are when they like get kids playing together. Because they have these programs where they have like Israeli and Palestinian kids like playing basketball together. And like, I think those are actually pretty amazing programs because it is true. Like, it was very cliche and stereotypical, but once you meet someone, it's very hard to continue having these stereotypes. And he happens to be a particularly wonderful person because then we developed a friendship to the point where I could ask him all my dumbass questions and he answered me so patiently. And looking back, like I was asking him questions that were probably like pretty traumatic for him. Like he grew up in like it has to be traumatic to grow up in Palestine. You know what I mean?
He's on the
West Bank. And then I actually went and visited him for a weekend when I was living in Egypt. I was like, it's time for me to go to Palestine and like see that side. And I had insane anxiety going to Palestine that rationally I knew was okay. But on the inside, I was like, I'm going to die.
Yeah, 100%. This is all the stories you heard before.
Oh my God, it's all you ever hear about. And also like growing up in the 90s with suicide bombings and even just like Israel's always attacking the West Bank. And so like, I was like, I'm going to die. And I actually remember I called him like freaking out. And it was the only time he was remotely like not hand holding. He was like, look, come if you want to come if you don't want. And I totally get it now, right? He's like, this is where I live. Are you coming or not? Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I came and I visited him, which was, and then of course you like see the wall, like literally just run through his neighborhood, like literally just, and then stop. So it just, it was literally down the street. So for him to cross the street now, he had to like walk, I don't know, whatever it was, like 20 yards and then around it to cross the street. So stupid. But anyway, so
Have you seen the episode for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they were doing like we're gonna solve the Israeli-Palestine conflict, and like almost in a way they somebody owned their bar and they started putting gates in front of the bar, so you see them. There's like this icon of them trying to get into the bar and squeezing through walls and chain link fences. And I think that was the first time that side of the argument was brought up.
yeah,
At least to me, because it was always played from the side of, these are terrorists and Israel is defending itself.
Yeah.
And you don't talk about like how are the regular people living day-to-day life? How do they go? And again, I'm not demonizing any one side.
Yeah.
I know that this is an overreaction to stuff that happened in the past, and if you're cornered, you would be extra vigilant.
Oh, you
And
mean like overreaction to the Holocaust?
not the Holocaust. You see, the Holocaust for us plays. We're in the consequences of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Like from the Arab point of view.
Yeah.
Because after the war, we were all this is awful, blah blah blah. But then once they were like, okay, so you guys have been wronged, so now this is your. This is officially the place that we are gonna recognize as, and the people who live there, we're not gonna hear their story.
Yeah.
How did we get here? I forgot.
Just talking about people who are like really one-sided or kind of idiots.
Yeah.
Because it's very complex. Like I also as a Jew, I just talked about the Palestinian side, but I also could talk about the Israeli side for sure.
It
you
was
know what I
very
mean?
interesting to me when I worked at that job, and my best friend there was Israeli.
Yeah.
And that was my first time like sitting with, and I separate between American Jews and Israeli Jews because it's completely different.
Yeah.
And that was my first time meeting an Israeli and like becoming close and friends with him and know his family and know his wife. And even then, like we kind of chose to,
Just not talk about that?
Yeah, let's talk about this. Because his point of view is very Israeli.
Yeah.
And it's on that side very well. Like he would even say, if we put our weapons down, the Arabs will kill us. Like he would say these things.
Yeah.
And like I just realized that if you take this out of the equation, we're really great friends.
Yeah.
It's just that it's almost politics. We disagree about politics.
Yeah.
And
well, it just is really complicated. Like there have been like the Protocols of the Elders of Zion is like this anti-Semitic document about like the Jews' plan to take over the world, and it's like been completely debunked as just this like Russian forgery. I actually wrote my thesis about this. It's like very and there have been like suicide bombers and other people like found with this on them. So it's difficult. So anyway, it's just like extremely complicated. Like I think some Arabs truly believe that Jews are trying to like take over the world.
I'm not saying that our people are very innocent and nothing happens.
Oh,
I'm not saying that your people are
but it's
very
just like
innocent.
so complicated, and I feel like most people don't know the half of it. Because actually, Jewish migration to Palestine or oh my God, I'm blanking on
Levant.
What?
Levant.
Yeah, or what it was called before that. Not the Ottoman Empire, but what was after the Ottoman Empire? God, I majored in this was so long ago. I don't.
But the Ottoman
remember.
Empire is really that's it. The Ottoman Empire ended with World War One. Like they ended the
Well,
Ottoman
so
Empire.
basically, Jews started moving to that area after the Russian pogroms in the late 1800s. So Jewish settlement of Palestine actually began long before World War One or World War Two.
Way before that.
Yeah,
Like, that was
so-
where 100%.
But yeah, then the Holocaust happened, and they were like Balfour Declaration. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
Balfour
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Declaration, which I never hear. We hear Balfour Declaration a lot in the Middle East, in
Yeah.
Egypt,
Yeah,
but you never hear it here.
yeah.
You never, like this and Camp David. These are two things that I feel like, oh, you guys, these are references that we are familiar with.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I find Americans have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they have no idea. And like, actually, it's interesting because now I think sentiment has swung very pro-Palestine, which
I
I
was
get.
talking
But
about
then I
this
equally
yesterday.
feel like people ignore the Israel. Like, I just think there needs to be two states. Let's move on.
Here's the thing. I'm now glad that there is a difference in opinion on this.
Yeah.
Because that's new. There
Yeah.
wasn't a difference in opinion. It was one
Yeah.
color. Now
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, there's difference in opinion.
Yeah.
Like I'm not judging you on which side you land on.
Yeah.
I get. I
Yeah.
can argue your point of view. I get it.
Yeah.
But this is the new thing for me. It's like, oh, now people are not just saying,
Yeah.
repeating the
I
main
guess
points
I
and ignoring.
wish it didn't swing this way and then swing that way. I wish everyone would just be like, at this point, we need 2 states. Can we just have 2 states and move on?
I don't think that's good for Israel too.
What, to have 2 states? You think they just want to keep having one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So it's like one of those things where
But that's why I wish like the international community would be like, here are the borders. You have 2 states now. Stop all of this.
this is
Stop
where
this nonsense.
this is where Arabs get angry at America
Yeah.
because the world agrees,
Yeah.
but America vetoes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
a lot of
Because
times
America gives so much aid to Israel and shit.
it happened a lot. Like I think the way the 9/11 attacks were kind of like the angle of them
Mm-hmm.
was because you guys are not you're siding with Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that they've always felt. Again, extreme Arabs felt
Yeah.
like, they're just they call Israel America's spoiled child
Yeah.
in so many ways. Anyways, back
Morning
to
routine.
Back to no, not yet. Morning routine. We're deep into the Middle East conflict right now. Let's go back to your insomnia. What are you talking about?
No, but like, yeah, I just think people. I feel
it's-
this way about all political issues, right? It's like everything. People are just like so one side or the other right
Yeah,
now, and
black
I'm
and
like,
white.
every single one of these things can only be an issue if it's extremely complicated. Like something I'm not allowed to say out loud that I'm going to say out loud. Trans people in sports, I think is if you say that that's an issue, you're transphobic. But I'm like, how is that not so complicated?
And my thing is, and I discovered this recently, that there is a gay Olympics.
A gay Olympics?
Do you know this?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be an asshole right now and be like that needs to be gymnastics and glitter bombing, and I want to watch it. The end. It's like only gymnastics, ice skating, and like RuPaul drag queen dance offs.
This homophobic remarks are coming from the headquarters of gaydom.
I want to
we are-
say that it's not homophobic if it comes from my extreme love of gay people. It's homophobic, isn't
We're
it?
kidding.
Listen, also so let me just say, my aunts are lesbians.
My aunts are lesbians,
And I'm trying to
Okay.
make lesbians a thing, or like lesbians.
Lesbians.
Because like everyone talks about gay uncles as gunkles, which frankly is like a stupid word, okay? Lesbians has a great ring to it.
It also sounds like a
I'm
bunch
just
of
saying.
lesbian aunts.
Yeah, lesbian aunts. Yeah. Those are my aunts.
Mhm.
My lesbians. The problem is that some people say aunt and some people say aunt. I say aunt.
You say aunt.
lesbians. But you can say lesbians. But then that sounds like ambiance, like a lesbian
It sounds like it should
ambiance.
be an ambience lesbians.
What's a lesbian ambiance? Whatever we answer is
The
going to get us in trouble.
Volvo-
It's just
the-
a lot of
The
flannel.
smell of a Volvo car.
It's just a U-Haul on the second date. That's the classic joke, but I wish I were a lesbian. I didn't get that gene, which is upsetting because the gene is in my family. Like my aunt is a lesbian and I didn't get it. I'm mad at her. We're in a fight.
It's hereditary?
I guess.
How are you supposed to have...
Let's call an expert.
Okay.
So you told me to look at you the whole time, but then this isn't good footage because I haven't looked here at all. Hey guys.
But there's a camera over there, by the way, that has your... just basically just your face. This one.
Oh wow! I
Ah.
didn't even know that. Oh,
So,
I don't even know if
this
my
is
face
all
looks
dedicated
okay.
for
All right,
you.
it's time for me to.
It's time for some insecurity.
It's time for me to put on lipstick.
More makeup.
Okay, here's what I have to say about morning routines.
Yes.
As a white person, I
Okay.
don't know what it's like for brown people, but as you get older, the color just drains from your face. I used to be very colorful. I used to be a colored person.
We're black and white
as
right
you
now.
get older, it's just all beige. Like I wake up and I'm just like, wow, beige. Just beige.
Look at how diverse she is. We can cast you in like you can play Cleopatra.
Also because my hair is also kind of beige, arguably. So I wake up in the mornings and I'm like, I am one color.
What is...
But my eyes are green.
Okay, great. I suspected for a second that you're colorblind. Because you're like, I don't know what's beige about either your hair. Her name is Goldberg. She goes by Goldie something. Like, it's all golden.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm on brand actually.
Yeah.
Well, I
It looks
added
very
purple,
golden.
so I have some color in my hair.
Your face mask has goldfish on it. What are you... It's not beige fish.
Well, my friend Paul calls me Goldfish because my last name is Goldberg.
Oh. It's not because of your Goldilocks.
No.
Okay. She lifted up the mic to say no. Came back. for more makeup. And I will fill up this time by talking about, I don't know.
No, okay, for anyone watching by video, like my face is about to get so much more vibrant.
I don't know with women and their makeup. I don't know why I'm attracted to women without makeup.
That's good.
Because I almost, sounds bad.
What?
They look tired and vulnerable and sexy.
They look like I could take advantage of them when they don't have makeup. When they have makeup, I'm like, oh, she's fierce.
Like, oh my God, okay. She's tired. I got this.
I don't wear much makeup, but I wear mascara. And sometimes when I look particularly dead, I put on lipstick. Lipstick is a weird word. Like lipstick makes me sound like just sounds like the 1950s. Something about lipstick.
You sound like you're from the 1950s in general.
Lipstick.
I bet you have a very good 1950s accent.
Well, I really enjoy doing my 1920s accent.
Oh, okay.
You know, this kind of thing. What's a 1950s accent? I don't even know.
I think it's like when the announcers were yelling everything. And our brave forces went to the fucking yard and they killed all the Jews.
The Allied forces.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe 1950s and 1920s are actually kind of similar. I don't know.
People were talking weird back then.
I
The
also love to
intonations.
do a reporter voice. Why do they pause at all the strangest places? You know?
It's a bit sexy though.
The reporter.
It's
Well,
the
they're just trying to get the news to sell, you know?
yeah. I'm not gonna play my dad read the news card again.
Do I look so much better now that I have lipstick on?
Can you guys see any difference from my 2K camera
I
from
can't
there
tell
that is
any
all the way far
difference.
near the window?
I can't tell. I love some good natural lighting.
Which is nice because it has been winter here. Like where is that? I've checked up the forecast for today. It just says cloudy all fucking day.
Welcome to San Francisco.
I did not. I'm pissed off at Google at this point because I looked up the forecast. It said it's gonna be 90 degrees.
Oh,
And
I
was like,
should have.
okay.
Well, okay, I was at Burning Man, and so I didn't realize San Francisco was going to have a heat wave and that it was going to mislead you. San Francisco, pretty much all year, is 68 and cloudy. But then there was a heat wave, and last week it was like 80 degrees.
Oh yeah, I get depressed. Like I need the sun in my life. When I wake up in the morning and I don't see the sun, I'm like, oh, let's drink.
Ugh, you're such an Arab. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I am. Again,
No, me
I'm
too.
gonna play my.
It's
I'm not-
called seasonal affective disorder. Like, this is real.
No, but I can't live in Seattle.
Yeah.
I can't
no,
live in
apparently,
Holland.
Apparently, places where they only have like a little bit of sunlight per day, there's very high rates of depression.
Oh yeah, I heard this. I'm not.
Which is weird to me because I'm like, you could move.
You could move.
Yeah, you moved.
Oh, move to another place.
Yeah, move
Oh,
move
no.
to California.
I
I know it's hard to move.
I can't like right now because of my living situation. I can't move anywhere. Because anywhere I go, I have to pay exorbitant
Yeah.
amount of rent that I'm not paying right now. So that's why I'm stuck here
Okay,
a good
total
way.
non sequitur.
in a good way.
I think you're very good at analogies, which I know you haven't done recently, but like the car thing you did earlier, you often pull an analogy out of your asshole, but it's like,
Everything
but it's
is out of
like
my asshole.
got a lot of imagery.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like you're always pulling out this like, I can't think of another example, but you did it last night several times.
I have.
You're always like, imagine you're a bundle of grapes, and I'm like, what?
I have what I would call moments of brilliance, but it's interrupted by a lot of like what. I was like,
You speak in images a lot.
Because I think in images, the ADHD. It's my
think
biggest
that's what
problem.
it is?
Yeah, you see images and then the words.
Well, you
come
know, a
and you think,
positive stereotype of the Arabs that I'm going to throw at you is that they really, there's like a culture of poetry.
Oh yeah,
That's all I have to
we're
say.
very poetic. And I think this is where I get this muscle of analogy
Yeah.
a lot because when we were studying like our Arabic lit stuff is basically you go through
Like
these,
in high school?
Yeah, you go
Yeah.
through these poems and then your job is to see like what analogy did he do here. And you comment on it. It's like, oh, he compared the growth of life to the
Do you find that's really helpful for comedy?
the wheat. All of my life is helpful for comedy. Like my
Okay, fair.
my
Cop out,
constant-
but fair.
I'll tell you what. And I told you this yesterday. If I'm talking to you
Yeah.
and I lose your attention, I get the same feeling as if I bombed. I'm like, oh my god, I lost her attention.
Yeah.
I wasn't interesting enough.
Which
I
again,
need to work on my
high
being
bar
interesting.
because I am always distracted.
And she has ADHD, so you imagine our relationship a lot of times is like, oh, that's probably was not important for me to say if she didn't hear it. There's a lot of it's like, oh, okay, it's probably not important. Why would you say this? You're gonna say
I just
something
like
dumb.
can't focus, and I feel like the pandemic and the internet made it worse. I also
Also
think,
aging. This is something that I'm realizing. Like a very famous, successful writer, he's in his 50s now, and that's when he's starting Adderall. Because he started to notice as he grew older, his ability to focus is on top of the ADHD got worse.
That makes
So
sense.
they gave him at his age, like I'm 39 and I'm taking Adderall. And I'm like, is this good for my body? My body's gonna explode. And at 50, I'm assuming it's just because it's counteracting all of this aging. It doesn't have the same effect that it would have on me here.
Huh.
Because your brain is
That
super
makes
distracted.
sense. This is also a sad thing I'm going to say, but I just mean it as a fact. I think being single also contributes to ADHD because you're in or feelings of ADHD because you're responsible for everything in your life, right? There's nothing in your life that has been shared with or outsourced. You know what I mean? Like if you run a household and there's two of you, there's certain things that you just divide and conquer. And so you can take it off your brain.
And just the fact that you have somebody to delegate to is also nice. Like a lot of times when my mom was here and I need to go now, I'm late, but I also need to walk the dog.
Yeah.
Mom, can you please?
Walk the dog.
But,
right. There's someone else to handle a few things. I mean, you could also argue that then you have a child and it all goes to shit. But I still feel like there's some amount of like streamlining when you have someone else to tackle it with.
I see that. And also I see that
Whereas
a lot
like
of times.
my brain's constantly like, oh, but I forgot about this and I have to do this and I have to do this and did I leave the stove on? Like, you know what I mean?
Again, there's a lot of these funny things where something happens to you in your life and you think that, oh, if only this happened, all of my issues will be resolved. If I'm in a relationship, maybe my ADHD would be less. I've had this with so many things. When I got the dog,
Yeah, maybe if I started dating someone, it would be worse. Because I'd also have to be thinking about like some of his problems.
I'm sure your brain, our brains, will always find a way to be like, then where is the issue here? Let's focus on that.
Yeah.
How did we get here? The story of my life.
Well, I was talking about how you use imagery in your language.
Oh.
And you said it's a little bit ADHD, maybe.
Oh,
Is that what you
I
said?
see. Yeah. And you said ADHD and your relationships is the reason. I remember when I got the dog,
Yeah.
I, like, for the first, I want to say month, I was telling my therapist that I'm happy. Like, I was out loud admitting that I'm happy, and I was walking around being like, damn it, I'm one of those annoying people who now is turning around and telling people, are you depressed? Get a dog. Do you have issues? Get a dog. Do you have financial? Get a dog.
And do you feel like getting a dog really helped with all those things?
No. This is
So it
exactly the point.
faded.
It faded. But in the moment, I was like, this is it. And then now I caught myself being depressed around my dog yesterday. I was like, oh, then I'm back to normal.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I
it's-
hear that about relationships too, that there's like that high and then you're like your baseline is your baseline.
And that's why a lot of times when I think, because I've been notoriously single my entire life.
Me too.
So I think that in a way makes it like, oh, if only this is like, you almost think that this is your problem,
Yeah.
but it's not really.
Yeah.
And you find out that once you solve it, in a week during that phase, I had a girlfriend and a dog.
Yeah.
So I had both of them.
You did.
And I was like, oh no.
I was excited for you.
But it wasn't this like magical, I'm now all fixed and ready to wreck the world with my awesomeness. It was still, yeah.
So some people are sort of annoying like that. Like I know this comic who's like super successful and he's so not satisfied. And I'm like, get over it, dude. You're so successful. You're paying all your bills and times a million. Like you're good. You're selling out every city you go to. You're good.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be a point at which you're like, this is fine. This is enough.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is perfect to segue into the story that I'm about to tell.
Okay. Coffee break.
Okay.
I mean, you can keep telling the story, but I'm going to stand over here.
I'm asking you this question just because...
I'm just trying to spice up the footage for everyone.
Sure. I'm
Coffee.
asking you this question because you're a fellow in the field actress, not because you're Jewish. But what's the name of...
I want you to ask me
Costanza?
just because I'm Jewish.
What's the name of... You're Jewish, so you would definitely know
Yeah.
the name of Costanza's...
George Costanza?
What's his real name? Jason Alexander.
Listen, my family, we watched Seinfeld together every Thursday night as a family.
Oh, you guys are not friends with Seinfeld and Jason Alexander?
We watched Friends, and listen, if I was friends with Jason Alexander, my career would be much better.
Okay. But I'm sure you're friends with David Schwimmer. He's Jewish,
We're
right?
friends with Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh.
That's a lie. Just so everyone knows. That's
So
not
Seinfeld does not
true.
come to all of your synagogues and do a speech every single...
No.
What's your day of the... You have a day of the week? Saturday, right?
Friday night. Jewish holidays are sundown to sundown.
Okay.
Friday night till sundown. Saturday is
That's
is
Shabbat.
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 When's yours? Is Sunday?
Friday.
Oh, right.
It's like Muslims took Friday, Jews took Saturday, and Christians took Sunday. Yeah.
Which is why we should have 3-day weekends.
Right.
The major religions of the world demand it. I don't even know if Judaism is a major religion of the world. It's actually quite small.
You guys are cool because
I know.
a lot of Jews are really non-believers. I mean, the ones I've met here. Like, you're the most interesting agnostics.
No,
It's
I
like,
identify
believe
as an
in-
agnostic
Yeah.
and very Jewish.
Yeah, it's very funny to me.
Yeah, no, I don't think other religions are like, I'm so Christian and Jesus can go fuck himself. I'm enjoying now just like laying down. That's like a really nice way to
Oh,
work.
we finally relaxed. We're not in podcast mode. That's great.
Is that good?
Wait, let me tell you my story about
Okay.
Jason Alexander.
Can I interrupt 14 times?
Of course.
You know, I like that
That's
you
the
don't get
dynamic.
mad at me when I interrupt. I found out a
I'm
friend
surprised.
hates when I interrupt.
I'm surprised that you don't piss me off when I get interrupted. Because when my mom interrupts me, I'm hopping mad. I'm like, I was trying to make a point. Let me finish.
Well, I feel like, do I do a good job of circling back? I always try to circle back.
It's that.
And that's 50-50.
And also at the same time, because it happened so many times over the years, I'm becoming less precious about what missed.
Okay, what's the story?
And I also know that that I can now have a way for me to say, like, we'll go back to that story, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Jason Alexander
Okay.
was improvising a scene with his son. And
He has a
they're-
son?
Yeah, he's an actor's son as well.
By the way, I don't think Jason Alexander's Jewish.
He grew up Jewish,
He did? Huh. Well, okay, continue.
and then he became agnostic.
Well, as we all do.
Yeah. Well, I call this growing up, but never mind.
Yeah. Well, also, as we discussed last night, God just might be a bunch of aliens. Continue.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, so during the improvisation scene, his kid steers him into what are they going to put on your tombstone? Because his real name is not Jason Alexander, it's something Jerome something or something like this. And he was like, oh, we're just going to do an AKA. I'm just going to put on his real
Great.
name, AKA Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
And
a
he was
great
doing
idea.
this, he was talking to Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
And Pete Holmes was telling him that story about his guru. I was like, telling him, when it's going to be enough? Like, even when you're dying, you're thinking about how is my tombstone going to be viewed?
Yeah,
is it
but
gonna-
that's
when is it
funny.
done?
That's funny. They
I
have
know,
an
I know.
AKA. Do you know about the woman who put a giant dick on her grave?
Why?
It's amazing. And I saw pictures. This is like an ancient lady, and she like wanted a giant dick on her grave, and her family made it happen. And there's a giant dick on her grave. She decorated her own grave, and I am here for it. She erected a dick on her grave. She is the family jewel.
Did she die by the dick? Like, why is that very important in her life? To have a dick?
I'm not sure. I was just too
Was her
caught
li-
up. You guys need to Google this. For people watching, you need to have like an image slide in. Just like a
Oh,
dick.
I can do that. I have the technology.
It's beautiful.
Okay, I'll look it up.
When I die,
Mark.
put a dick on my grave.
Okay. And what's the name of the dessert?
Actually, I don't know that I want to.
Oh, by the way, we should talk about this because we are sharing a dick for our anniversary.
Oh, are we gonna share a dick today?
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice.
What is? Tell me about your. What's the name of the place again?
It's called Hot Cookie. We're here in San Francisco for a festival. And there's a really famous place called Hot Cookie. It's been in the Castro, like a famously gay neighborhood, for 25 years. And you and I were walking around the other night, and it turned out this iconic San Francisco spot finally opened a second location after 25 years, and it's right down the street. And it's Hot Cookie, and they have a giant dick cookie.
And she was so excited about the place opening and the giant dick cookie that she turned to me and said in her peppiest, loudest voice, "We can share a dick together for our anniversary."
I think it's
I'm
a
like,
great
"Okay,
idea.
great."
I want you to know I've also shared a dick with my mom
Oh.
when we came to San Francisco.
Okay. With your mom?
Yeah, my mom and I shared a dick, and it was great because my mom was like, my mom is like really sassy and funny, and then turns on a dime and is like horrified and really angry at you. And it's like, you never know what you're going to get. And so you don't know how to behave. But she was like, should I take the tip or the balls? So we did that. And then 10 years later, we shared a dick again. And then I gave her a frame of us side by side sharing a dick 10 years apart. But then I posted,
cute.
yeah, but as an example.
Who has a sharing dick story with the
But as an
picture with the
example of how
parents?
my mother is like so cool and then not, is that then I posted it on Facebook and she freaked the fuck out.
This is what our private dick.
I mean, I guess I get that. It's like public, but my mom will be like, she'll be making like sassy, dirty jokes. And then you make like one that like for some reason is over the line for her. And she's like slamming doors.
Yeah.
And you're like, what just happened?
That's my. I was told that this is bipolar. I'm not sure. But I grew up with this. I'm not gonna say who, but I have 2 family members. Both of them are this way.
Yeah.
Where I can have her laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
And then take one wrong tag.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the jail.
Yeah, that's my mom.
So
yeah.
that's where my did I say something wrong muscle comes from. Is that 38 years of training is that there is something that you can say that just totally wrecks this apart.
Yeah, no, I feel that too, for sure.
Um,
I also just feel like humans are too precious about things. Like, don't get me wrong, I got mad like easily as like a kid and young adult, but now
I don't
I'm
know what
like,
this look like.
God, you have to do so
never seen you
much to
mad.
make me mad.
Yeah, I've never seen you mad.
I don't know, I just feel like as you get older, you're like, what actually matters? And you'd have to do something pretty bad for me to get mad. You'd have to like sabotage me.
Still waiting.
You'd have to sabotage me.
Still waiting for that moment.
But you'd have to sabotage me. You'd have to do something really bad.
I would lose my shit if somebody cut me off.
If somebody cut you off?
Yeah.
Like in driving?
Yeah.
Because
And
sentence-wise, I cut you off all the time.
No, that's fine. No, I used to. They used to bother me. But like, I have, and I know where it comes from. And again, my problem is that I've analyzed. I know exactly what my issues are, but I still have not figured out how to fix them.
Okay.
I'm better at sometimes holding myself when I see myself about to jump on the angry ramp.
Yeah.
But it's coming always from you're being inconsiderate. Why are you being inconsiderate? Why did you only think about yourself?
Yeah.
And you cut me off. You didn't even look at your mirror. You didn't even give me time to make a signal.
Yeah.
Now I have to slam on my brakes because you're selfish.
Yeah.
And that drives me crazy.
But maybe they're not selfish. Maybe they're just a bad driver.
That's part of the techniques that I'm trying to use myself is to call it mental agility.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, this might be true, but what else?
Or like they also have ADHD and they're listening to a podcast and then they're realizing their exit's coming up.
Or
and
they're
then,
old. Or they're working for Uber Eats and they just got an order.
Yeah.
Or
they're a woman. Just kidding.
Or they're Asian. Or they're an Asian old woman.
I mean, I've definitely cut
this is
people
all
off
racist.
completely by accident.
And that's another thing too. I remind myself that I'm sure I wasn't always
I think
perfect.
horns need to have more. I think there need to be more communication options because there are times where I want
These
to be
are
like, beep, beep, sorry. I didn't mean to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there should be other options.
I'm
There also needs to be like, excuse me, I didn't realize this is my turn. Can I cut in? Can I get in front of you? I just didn't know. There need to be so many more options than
we
just
have
like,
languages. We famously I talked about this in my stand-up, but we have like honk language in Egypt, where there are like a cuss word and a thank you
Okay.
that you use.
What are they?
So
The curse is different?
the curse is it rhymes with the words yabn al mitnaka.
Oh
Which
yeah,
means
there's so
you
many
son of a
things that
bitch.
rhyme with that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so yabn al mitnaka tit 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 tit.
Okay.
And then you do that. That's some people got into fights because
you
of that.
do that rhythm.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Tat, 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 tat. And then
Because
the other
what's
one
funny
is
is when you told me it rhymes, I thought you were going to give me like a syllable.
oh no.
You know what I mean? Like it rhymes with
No.
boat. And you were like, it rhymes with
It's melodic. That's the word.
Yeah.
It's on the melody of the word.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is
Yabn al
Fuck you?
mitnaka. Yeah. You son of a bitch.
okay.
And then the other one is tit 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 tit, which means I love you, because it's بحبك 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 tat 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 tat.
Wow. Are you the only one that does this?
No.
Are you sure about
when
that?
When I grew up in
Yeah, but do you
school.
think this only lives in your head? Because like it might.
No.
Yeah.
Here's-
I don't
here's the
know
story,
about
here's the story.
this. We're gonna have to go on a field trip.
If you go to Egypt, you've been to Egypt. You can everything
Yeah, it's
is
been
horns.
15 years though.
But
Although I
you
did
remember the
watch a
noise.
man almost die my first day, which we've discussed.
Crossing the street.
Yeah, but the funniest, saddest part about it is he was like, I'm going to show you how. Like, Egypt is crazy. This is how you do it. And then he ran across the street and didn't just get hit by a car. Like, I thought I saw a man die. Slammed in, like, this was a highway. The car was going like 80 miles an hour. He slammed into it, like, in the windshield and then rolled off into the street. Like, when he lived, I was like, you're superhuman.
Famous last words.
But it was literally
Let me
like,
help
hey,
you cross the street.
It was like, hey, Americans, let me show you how it's done. He got hit by a fucking car. So, Egyptian traffic is traumatizing to me.
Like, there's no pedestrian, there's no way for you to cross the street on like this major street that we have.
Yeah, if y'all think LA is crazy for pedestrians, go to Egypt.
In Egypt, they cross the highway.
Yeah, that's where we were. Where he got hit by a car.
Oh, there was a highway, not just a street?
It was a highway.
Okay.
No, I'm telling you, like, I saw him. I didn't see him get tapped by a car. I saw him full on get hit by a car.
And the other guy did not stop. He just kept going, right?
No, he stopped.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was bad. He rolled. I think he might have cracked the windshield. Like, I couldn't believe he lived. It was fucking wild.
No, Egypt is...
I guess he's lucky he rolled into the windshield and not just, like, under the tires, because then I really would have seen him die. Yeah. I need to ask Yasmin and Nasli about that guy. Like, is he...
Did you guys stayed in contact?
I forget that guy's name. Well, the other problem is because that happened, he was in the hospital for like most of the program. I saw him again at like the end of the summer program. So he's not someone I like bonded with.
It would be so embarrassing. I would never look you in the eye again if I was him. I can remember when I was helping you cross the street.
We were so young. It's interesting because there's a lot of things that happened that summer that were like pretty disturbing for me because it was pretty anti-Semitic. But now I realize like these are just like, we were 20 years old and they'd never met a Jew. Like they didn't know. Like once they...
And you're saying you're Jewish there out publicly?
Well, I was told not to tell anyone, which was disturbing for me at the time. But...
our relationship with Jews is exactly like, imagine if what the relationship with white people here is going to be like with black people if black people did not live in America.
What?
So we have all these slurs about Jews and like, you walked in and you didn't even say Salamu Alaikum, what are you, Jewish? You're being cheap, what are you, Jewish? But there's no one around to be offended or have a right to say anything because we literally, like, I think we have 2 Jews in Egypt, like something like this. There's no one there. So it's...
Well, so that was the perspective that I didn't realize at the time but had to realize later, which is like if you've only been taught that these people are the devil and you have never ever ever met them, that is what you will think. The end.
My journey with this started with Christianity first. Because we were doing we're all Muslims and we hang out here and here are the Christians. Ever since I moved to Egypt. But then I was always curious about, so you guys heard our story and you have your story and you don't want to come to our story? So I went to one of my Christian friends and sat with him and tell me your story. Tell me about Jesus. Tell me about these things. And when he told me about the soul, the body, the spirit, the 3 that he came,
it's
the
a
original
I
sin.
still don't understand. Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. 3 gods for the price of 1. Sounds pretty Jewish.
That's Elohim. It's all 3. It's all 3 of them.
Okay. So you tell me about this.
Explain to me the original sin, which was very interesting to me. That we all, because of our sin from Adam time, what we did with the fruit and the apple, blah blah blah.
Oh my God, people need to get over the fruit and the apple and the nudity. I was just at Burning Man. Everybody was naked. Who cares? Move on already. Okay, but so there's original sin.
So when I had this conversation with him, it made me see that my story makes sense and I believe it. And I used to always think that their story won't make sense. But when I saw that their story makes sense and I would believe it if I've only heard that story, that shattered the bias out of
That's funny to me, though, that's what changed things for you, because I hear religious stories and I'm like, well, that's stupid.
But who am I to say that my story is not stupid? It's
you
just
know, all religion makes no sense.
I'm not gonna judge it that way. I'm just gonna say that you're deeply into the atheist now.
I'm hard agnostic.
You're not even agnostic.
I'm not atheist. Maybe there's something and we just don't know.
She said this in the most Jewish voice ever.
You know. Okay, go on.
So when
there's a big thing between the Coptics and the Muslims there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But again, I only see it as majority issue.
Also, you're basically American at this point, I hate to tell you.
How?
If you didn't have an accent, you've been here 10 years. You've been in LA longer,
They
way longer than I
still kick
have.
me out for nothing.
You are more of a Californian than I am.
I just want the immigration department to acknowledge that, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, I know.
But for
I know,
now,
I know,
I'm
I
just
know.
like still in limbo.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we have famous wars between our countries in 767 and 73.
Our countries?
Israel.
Nah,
And
okay,
just,
because I'm
our
American.
people. She's American. She's technically American.
And I have no relatives in Israel at all. I actually kind of wish
Wow.
I did.
You're Russian.
Russian on
Russian
both
origin.
sides.
Oh, both sides? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're the enemy. Our relationship with Israel is almost like the relationship of America and Russia. It's almost this contention.
Yeah.
And we've had a war in 73.
Although, Jews were never citizens of... I don't know if my family went through this, but my friend who's from Russia and moved here in like the 90s, she said on your ID card, it says Jewish, not Russian. You're like not actually a citizen.
Oh, when she moved here?
When she was in Russia in the 90s. I don't know if my
Oh,
family
I
went
see.
through that too, but I think they did. But it was like Jews were like never integrated into Russian
Yeah.
society.
Our IDs in Egypt says religion.
Which is why we have delicious foods like babka.
Yeah. Poor people food that we ate yesterday. It was
I was so excited to show Sam babka, like so excited. And then
she oversell like for a full day. I'm like babka. Oh my god, we have babka. And
But
then
it
she brought
was
the
so
babka.
funny because once you tasted it and you were like, this is bread and chocolate, I was like, yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's stale bread and chocolate.
All right, don't. Nothing you've said was offensive until this moment.
This is where you cross the line.
The line has been crossed.
Two-state solution is fine, but babka, you disrespect babka. How dare you?
Yeah. Now we're out. Okay, well, have you ever tried blintzes? You've had matzo ball soup because that's... You've never had matzo ball soup? What?
All of these are jokes. Like all of these are here. The names of these things in jokes and punchlines.
Yeah.
Like blah 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 and matzo ball soup and.
No, but have you never had matzo ball soup? What if I ask you again? right.
You're running out of your capital.
Okay, so apparently there's
Spending your friendship capital on this.
there's a very famous Jewish deli by Sam, apparently. Very, like my friend was like, you gotta go to this deli in Northridge. We looked it up. It has 2,500 reviews. So we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
go.
This me, Sam. I was like talking
Although,
about
to be
Sam.
honest, I kind of want to cook you matzo ball soup one day.
You have a joke about being like too Jewish in a threesome, and like yesterday I saw all the Jewishness and like you cooked me food and like here's some
No.
yogurt, I'll do your
I
laundry.
actually make a very good matzo ball soup.
You're surprisingly a good cook, so I'm not
I'm
not
a very
gonna-
lazy cook, but maybe, well, oh, fuck. You know what? The Jewish holidays are coming up.
Which ones?
The big ones.
Is the Hanukkah?
The big ones.
The big ones
I'm
were
not
in-
Jewish enough to remember when they are, but maybe I'll host something and you should come.
Okay, I'm down.
I think I would like to host. We'll talk about that off air. It'll be a bunch of middle-aged Jewish women and Sam.
Ooh. To fulfill my fantasy of finally dating a Jewish woman.
Yeah, actually, you'll love it. You'll fit in just fine. You're basically a Jewish woman.
I'm assimilated, yeah. I've heard that before. The Israelis told me that.
Well, my friend makes fun of us because it's, oh my God, it just makes me laugh so much. We went to the movies and I talk through most movies, as you might imagine.
I didn't, but now I do.
But I thought I was pretty quiet. This was Everything Everywhere All at Once. I thought I was pretty quiet.
And that movie requires like focus and attention.
Yeah, so I thought it was pretty good. And then this girl next to us like shushed us and told us to be quiet. And I was like, and at the end of the movie, I told my friend, who of course is named Aviva, which means spring in Hebrew.
Yeah.
And so I told Aviva, like, we weren't even that loud. And she goes, Allie, imagine you go to the movies on a Saturday night by yourself. And you're seated next to 4 middle-aged Jewish women. And I just lost it because I realized, like, yeah, my version of quiet was still offering at least 15 times throughout the movie. Does anyone want popcorn? I still have popcorn. Are you sure? 20 minutes later, a popcorn? Like, I just lost it. And I just also love how, like, empathetic. Like, she wasn't bitching. She wasn't going to bitch back with me and be like, yeah, why did she shush us? She was like, Allie, imagine you go alone on a Saturday night to a movie. I was like, oh, yeah. Oh
She
my
didn't say
God.
yes. She just like put you in the situation of that other lady.
Yeah, it was
For
so
you to
good.
be able to
It was so
empathize
good.
with
I
them.
was like 100%. Now I feel badly. But also, I feel like I obviously don't talk like I'm Jewish, but my internal voice is like, does anybody want popcorn?
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean? Like, I
comes out
feel like
sometimes.
to for people to understand, they have to get into the Long Island. But it's okay because I have a lot of Long Island Jews in my family, so it's legit.
Do you want some yogurt with agave? That's how.
No, that's more California. That's very California that I gave you yogurt with agave.
It's just like the way you.
But we do
like
need
it was
to get
here.
bagels.
You want? I'm doing it here. Eat. It's very Egyptian mother of you. That's
Yeah,
what
but the Arabs are worse.
we are.
The Arabs
It's
are
almost
like,
you're
I made
offended.
you a platter, and you
Yeah.
need to eat the whole platter.
Mm-hmm. And I'll get pissed off if you don't take it with you when you leave. You can leave this for me. Take it.
I can't even come co-work with you anymore because the number of snacks I consume.
Again,
I'm also like, I'm lactose intolerant, and you're like, here's a pile of cheese. You should eat it. I'm like, oh man, now it's there.
It was amazing. Cheese.
Then later, I'm like, I have a tummy ache. Were we going to talk about my morning routine?
We didn't, by the way. We should. Yeah, we totally should. Okay. Let's talk about your routines. I want you to talk more about insomnia because I feel like it's very, and you've been almost like a poster child for insomnia.
Oh my God, hell
Ever
on
since.
earth.
And like
I was given a comic last night tips
Yeah,
that he
that was
like
all-
didn't ask for.
Yeah.
But I was like, you don't sleep well. Let me tell you everything. You could try.
Okay.
And now I just want to help others because it was like so horrible.
So this is your platform. You have
Okay.
apparently now there are 15 viewers. So you have 15 viewers to change
If
their
any
mind.
of you have insomnia,
Yes.
call me.
Okay. And that was the end of the podcast, you guys. That's it.
Yeah.
We're just gonna flash her number
Well-
on the screen and you leave.
At this point, I had, until I found what worked, I tried literally everything under the sun.
Wait, let me ask you first this. So you were normal throughout your life?
Never.
No insomnia? So insomnia had
No,
it
no,
from...
no, 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 no.
Oh.
I'm just
Oh, she
saying
was
I never
making a good
normal.
joke.
Yeah.
Your sleep trouble started when?
When I was 22, I had
Oh,
my
that's
first
early.
really bad bout of insomnia that lasted about a year and a half. But that insomnia was more typical, where it was like anxiety and stress and change, and I couldn't fall asleep. And then it became this like pattern and cycle, and I got addicted to sleeping pills, and it was like very bad, and they stopped working on me. And my mother was like very encouraging. My mother was like, just take Ambien. And then it stopped working. She was like, just take 2. And I was like my mother was a horrible, horrible. And at that age too, you're still calling your mother like she knows, right? And Ambien actually has worked for her. So she just takes Ambien. And she'd be like,
Wait, and she has
"Alli."
insomnia too?
Yeah.
It runs
Oh
with
yeah,
that?
it's very genetic. Like the thing that's frustrating is that I've even had doctors admit to me like, yeah, we don't know that much about sleep, right? Like we've studied, I think they said there's like I don't want to misquote, but I want to say it was like a week in med school or less. Like it's like nothing. And then the thing is they understand things like sleep apnea, right? You can get a CPAP machine. They understand restless leg syndrome, or like Mike Birbiglia's famous thing where he, you know, and,
Sleepwalking, yeah.
and he has to sleep in like a tied up in a straight
Bag,
jacket.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you don't have one of those things, they don't fucking understand. So that one, I remember there was a night at 22 years old that I took like 2 Ambien and 4 Tylenol PM to go to sleep.
Oof.
Yeah. And I woke up and I was like, I just pulled a Heath Ledger and like I should have died. And so then I was like, I'm never taking a sleeping pill again. And I think when I was 22, that insomnia was more like your typical, like it was in my head, and like something about just saying I would rather be sleepless than taking these cocktails of pills. It actually like resolved itself. And I didn't become a good sleeper by any means. Like I was a good sleeper as a kid.
What's a good sleeper?
Like you go to sleep, wake up 8 hours later at the end. But then my sleep was fine for like a good. Something else that helped actually is I went on a birthright trip where they have you going like 10 hours a day, like go till which actually I realized what I accidentally did is sleep training. So there's this program you can do where they purposely deprive you so your body learns to sleep again. So that was kind of what birthright did for me.
Wait, why?
So there's a sleep deprivation program which
In birthright?
no sorry separately, something that insomniacs can do and that I tried actually a few years ago is, and my brothers tried it, it's a sleep restriction program where they basically restrict your sleep so much that you're like retraining your body to crash at night. And it's brutal. It's like you sleep like, I forget what it is. It's like you're not allowed to go to bed until, like you're only allowed to be in your bed for 3 hours.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Guantanamo Bay interrogation techniques.
With what?
Guantanamo Bay
Yeah, yeah.
interrogation techniques.
And so it's like once you're successfully sleeping those 3 hours, you're allowed to increase it to 3.5 and then 4. I mean, it's like hell on earth. Anyway, so I think Birthright accidentally did that for me.
Because you're jet lagged and...
No, because their schedule's so insane.
I see.
I mean,
Okay,
you
okay.
are just running all day. And so I think it was an accidental sleep restriction program. So anyway, so around 22, I had insomnia. It resolved itself, you know, in maybe within a year.
And you were 25?
Maybe I was
at this age?
23, 24
Okay.
when I had the really bad insomnia. And then it kind of resolved itself. And then it was good for like a decade.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. I mean, I was
Wow.
never a good sleeper, but it was like fine. And then I'm telling you, something in my brain broke 2019. I remember it was around the
So
holidays.
it's when you started doing stand-up.
No, a year later. Or a couple months later. Yeah, it was.
Hmm.
It was. Well,
There's a
oh,
relationship.
no. You know what it was? Sorry. It was December 2018. Because
Okay.
2019 was hell on earth for me. December 2018, I was living in this apartment actually. And where we are right now in San Francisco. But I was living here and something broke. Like it just broke. Because I remember it was also around Christmas. I had no obligations, right? Everyone was like, you're stressed. And I'm like, do you understand Christmas for the Jews is like the greatest day of the year? Like as an adult, I was like, oh, I want to.
That's why we killed Jesus.
No, but as a kid, you're like, why don't we get Christmas? As an adult, you're like, it is the only day of the year where everything closes and I have zero obligations. It's incredible. It's the best day of the year. Like no one asks you for fucking anything. You couldn't run an errand if you tried, but you also don't have all these family obligations that everyone else has. So I fucking love Christmas as an adult. So yeah, and I just stopped sleeping, but it was different. I would fall asleep right away, sleep 4 hours and wake up. And that was it.
And couldn't sleep again.
Yeah, I couldn't fall back asleep.
And there's nothing you can do to sleep. Like you tried before then what you have now.
Yeah.
Before you got to this ritual or this routine.
Yeah,
There was nothing you can do to sleep after you wake up. Like you sleep
nothing.
for
Yeah.
hours, you're done.
And I felt gaslit by doctors. They'd be like, you're depressed. You have anxiety. And I'm like, okay, I'm not depressed. I'm depressed when I haven't slept multiple
Yeah,
nights in a row, but who
Definitely have
isn't?
anxiety.
You know, and the anxiety I've always had, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing changed. If anything, my life was more relaxing when it started. Like I had a couple projects optioned. You know, there was
That's
nothing
really-
going on.
if from and again, for every man with OCD, every problem is a hammer in a way. But I saw how my OCD came out of being idle. It didn't come from a moment when I was anxious, because when you're anxious, your
Yeah.
body's like, okay, we have stuff to be
No.
anxious about.
No. This was next level. What I truly believe was wrong, also because the medication has worked, is as you get older, you know, sleep is regulated by a variety of different chemicals in your brain, and it's very complicated. And basically those can get out of your sleep system, can get like out of whack as you get older, because I could totally like do the meditation and calm myself down and be relaxed. I mean, and I tried literally everything under the sun. People would be like, smoke weed. And then I would just be high and awake. Like nothing worked. And then Ambien didn't put me to sleep, like nothing. And I tried all these Eastern medications and Western medications. I did tests for my cortisol. I did everything. And then, yeah, because it was always, I would fall asleep and I would wake up 4 hours later. And then I even experimented with like, what if I go to bed really early? Because I keep going to bed at midnight, waking up at 4. So I remember I went to bed at 9 p.m. one night and I woke up at 1. Like it was just fucking nuts. Like there was something wrong with my brain.
And you can get another 4 hours, maybe 12 hours later. That doesn't happen.
No. And so I was going on 4 hours of sleep. It was hell on earth. And I felt like literally tried everything you can think of. Started to do this experimental, like weird ass, like brain zapping thing. Like it was nuts. I did a sleep study overnight in a lab. Nobody knew why I would wake up 4 hours later.
This is all from just 2019. This has just
All
happened in the last 3
2019.
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was awful. 2019 was hell. And
And next to
I mean,
COVID was 2020. Oh, okay.
and so I would like not sleep for like 3 or 4 nights in a row. Then I'd crash and be myself again.
And you'd sleep then for how long? 8 hours?
Yeah, 8,
Oh,
9
wow.
hours. Yeah, I'd crash every couple nights, but it felt insane. I literally would tell friends I feel like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I can't remember which one's the evil one, but but it was like when I crashed, I would wake up and be like, oh, I get to hang out with Alli again. She's great.
Ah.
And then I would be sleep deprived again, and I would be a miserable monster and like crying all day, like so sleep deprived by day 3 or whatever, you know, like literally couldn't function, could not function. It was horrible. And then I posted on Facebook, I'm looking for insane tricks. I was like, I'm desperate. I'm asking, does anyone have a weird hack? And I wrote like, if you comment like melatonin or chamomile tea, I will fine you in the night because I will be awake and you will be asleep. And the number of people who still fucking wrote like, have you tried valerian? Have you tried masturbation? It's like, do you actually think that I'm posting this psycho post on Facebook and I haven't tried literally everything?
Masturbation. I've not tried masturbation.
Yeah, like that's the first thing you try. You know what I mean? So this girl that I hadn't seen in 20 years from my high school messaged me privately and was like, my insomnia sounds just like yours, where I would fall asleep fine. So it's not that typical insomnia of like, oh, my mind is racing and I can't fall asleep fine. Wake up 4 hours later. She told me she also felt gaslit by doctors who told her she must be depressed or this or that. And she was like, and basically her psychiatrist was like, sleep is regulated by a variety of chemicals. We're going to try you on different low doses of antidepressants to change the chemical makeup of your brain. So it's treated like depression, even though she did not consider herself depressed. And I did not consider myself depressed. That's a better way of
explaining it, saying that, oh, you just have depression. Why? It's like, oh, no, we're going to treat the depression to change the chemistry of your brain. Like that's even in the face of all of these gaslighting that you're getting from doctors. Yeah. That sounds like the first somebody's talking to you, not just throwing stuff at you.
Well, because the thing too is like, I genuinely didn't feel depressed on the nights that I'd slept. But I used to say to people, even before this girl reached out, I would say to people all the time, there's something wrong with my brain. Like there's something wrong, because I would fall asleep fine. And I would just, and I remember I would be like in the middle of a deep dream. And then all of a sudden I would just be awake. And I was like, there's something, fully alert. And I'm like, there is something wrong with my brain. Something is not connecting anymore. There's something wrong with my brain. So when she finally said, even if you don't feel depressed, the idea is that they can change the chemicals in your brain and then you will sleep again. Because sleep is regulated by like serotonin and antihistamine and all this stuff. So then I was put on I think it's 25 milligrams of Zoloft.
Which also works for anxiety.
Yeah. Everyone's like, have you had side effects? And I'm like, I think I'm a little chiller. I don't know. And the Zoloft worked for a little, it built up in your system. And I thought I was kind of sleeping better. And then I didn't. Then the real miracle drug for me is they added mirtazapine, which is also known as Remeron. And I take a quarter of a pill and I've slept every night since I started. I mean, it's not a sleeping pill. Like I happen to take mine at night because that's when I remember to take it and it's easier for me, but you could take it in the morning. Like it's really just about the chemicals, and it works on your antihistamine receptor, supposedly. So I say supposedly just because like I'm not a fucking doctor. But I literally, I mean, I'm still not a good sleeper. I still wake up. But the other thing that really kind of blew my mind is that now normal people things work for me. So now if I wake up in the middle of the night and I take a hit of weed, I fall asleep. So I do feel like it corrected my brain. Now if I have anxiety and I meditate, I can go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like all the things that people told me, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried this? I feel like my brain was fucked. Now my brain is corrected and now all those other things work. So that's part of my story. But it's like, totally I even have like PTSD just like talking about it, and I still live in fear that the drugs will stop working. It's not gonna work, yeah. But it's been, I started taking them March 2020. So the other irony is people are like, how's your pandemic? And I'm like, well, I've been sleeping. So for me, 2019 was hell on earth. I mean, 2020 and 2021 were more like weird existential years.
And for all of us, it wasn't just very specifically you and your issue, and everyone else says that this is solvable and you're the one who can figure it out. It's completely different than, this is a global thing.
Right.
We're all in it together. It's not my fault.
But I mean, not sleeping, I think people who don't have sleeping problems don't understand. But I literally, to this day, if someone was like, you can have, Jeannie was like, you can have one wish, I would be like, I want to be able to fall asleep whenever I want and sleep for as long, like that.
Cheap Costco Genie you guys are getting here with one wishes.
That is, I don't, but then what I'm saying is, I don't even need the other two. That is the only, like, I still to this day would be like, allow me to be a good sleeper. Allow me to fall asleep reasonable amount of time and sleep through. Allow me to take nap. I can't nap. Like,
here's the thing. Here's the other side of this, is that there are people who will tell you, yeah, just do masturbate, smoke weed, blah, blah, blah. That's dumb solutions. Yeah. And there is my side, our side of the Middle East, where it's like, that doesn't exist. Insomnia.
Oh, like being gay?
No. Yeah, you're insomnia, that means you're gay.
No. I mean, like how some countries, they're like, no, we don't have gay people here.
Oh, yeah. It's almost like that. But it's like, it's almost So unacknowledged the same way we don't acknowledge anxiety in
Yeah.
my culture. It's like, yeah, it's fine. You can't sleep. And I think
No, it's
my
awful.
sister around, this is one of those things that you have siblings, you have an older brother,
Well, here's the
right?
other thing that's crazy too. I have a twin, and my twin doesn't
Oh, a
sleep,
twin.
and not a single doctor. I would tell doctors my twin doesn't sleep either. Not one doctor had a follow-up question, and I'm like, which blew my mind. Like, there's clearly some. My mom doesn't sleep. My uncle doesn't sleep. Like, there's clearly something genetic. I can even tell you which side of the family it's on. You know what I mean? Like, the fact, and like twins are. They've done studies and tests on twins, like for this reason that they're like these genetic freaks. But it's like, how would you not have a follow-up question for me when I tell you my brother also doesn't sleep, and he still doesn't, and he recently.
Wait, so your stuff, you didn't do that with your brother?
So he, about a year or two ago, said, Alli, if someone told me I could sleep every night for the rest of my life whenever I want, be a normal
call him a
sleeper,
genie.
right, if I could have this genie, but I'd have to cut off my arm, I would do it. That's what he said to me. And I was like, or you could go on this drug I've been telling you about.
Why? What was his
mirtazapine.
resistance?
His resistance now is that this was around the same time that he had his first child. And so he was like, I'm going to be waking up every 2 hours
Oh, I
anyway now.
He was like, let's use the insomnia to my advantage.
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to be on. Yeah, so, and then he had his second child, who's now like, so he has like a 2-year-old and like a.
Well, if you're up all night, you're probably fucking.
Actually, the other one. What?
If you're up all night, you're probably just having sex.
I don't think that's how it works with a kid and a.
It's just like, at a
So-
certain point, I'm like, we just had one kid, like, and I'm having trouble sleeping. Like, just hold off on
Yeah,
this right
so
now.
the other
Like, oh, I have
one-
another kid.
The other one is like 9 months old. Oh, fuck. I need to remember when his birthday is. But so anyway, so I think my brother's thing now is I'll look at my sleep again in like a year, which I think is hell on earth. I think he should really be going on this drug.
Yeah.
Or a different drug. Like, I've now talked to other people that are like on different low doses of different kinds of antidepressants just to like re-regulate their brain. I don't know. I think I could probably go off the Zoloft, and just the mirtazapine is what works for me.
But you're too afraid.
But now
right
I'm scared to fuck
yeah,
with it.
Yeah, it's one of those
'Cause
things
it
where
works.
once it
I'm
works,
good.
you're just like, we don't want to fuck it up. I don't know. I don't want to go back to this.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to that hell. And it's
My
made-
OCD advice
Yeah.
is that you should go back.
Is that
You should go back one time.
Yeah,
It's very hard.
and just
but
see.
You should go back one time so that it doesn't become death. If I go back, it's death. Just like you realize that, oh, no, it's fine. I'll recover. I'll be fine. And then it doesn't scare you. You still have to stay on your routines.
Yeah.
But it's just the anxiety about, like yesterday before you slept, you're like, I just wish I can sleep
Yeah.
without all the stuff that I have to do before I sleep.
Yeah.
And that's what breaks my heart a lot of times. Like that's the
Nah.
part, and like feel like that's what feels like the sentence.
Yeah.
Like I have to do this every night before I sleep, or else.
Well, I mean, I don't have to do, like, when I was at Burning Man, I didn't brush my teeth before bed. There's all kinds of shit I don't have to do, but I got to take those pills. But it's also made me like, it was interesting because after my Ambien experience at 22, which was so bad, and now those things just do not work for me at all, I was like so anti-pharmaceuticals that I actually waited, even when she told me her solution, I waited another 6 months before I looked into it myself.
Wow.
Because I was so anti-pharmaceuticals, and now I'm like, God bless pharmaceuticals. They changed my fucking life. They're amazing. And my psychiatrist, I was like, am I going to have to be on these forever? Like, what is... Oh, and when I was doing that weird experimental brain zapping thing, I met another guy who told me it wasn't Zoloft or mirtazapine, but a different antidepressant. He was like, that's what I'm on, and I've been sleeping ever since. And I said, are you worried that you'll never go off of it? And he's like, I sleep every night. So we're good.
That's how I feel about ADHD.
Yeah, it was just like, what, this is beautiful, you know? So, and then the classic thing psychiatrists always say is like, look, if you were a diabetic, you'd be on insulin until you die. You're going to be on this to sleep every night.
And when it's your issue, like, again, I'm drawing parallels between this and ADHD, because I would go to people and tell them, yeah, I can't focus. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, just go drink more coffee. Are you sleeping enough? And they tell you things that are like, no, I've tried these things. It doesn't work.
Yeah. It literally, like, nothing riles me up more than when people, like, tell me a sleep solution that they think I haven't tried. Like, yeah, tried them all.
But I found the perfect comeback. My perfect comeback is that when I tell people I have ADHD and they're like, we all have ADHD, I ask them, does it make you suicidal?
Oh.
And they say no. And I'm like, yep.
But isn't that depression?
No. That's what I thought too. I thought I saw one podcast that helped me change my mind, because I got 2 diagnoses of ADHD. I got one when I moved here in the beginning, and I didn't get the right meds. So eventually I got off of them and said I'll just do this organically and meditate and blah blah blah. But I fell out of my habits, and I realized that. So I go into a conversation.
Yeah.
I lose a piece of information, or I'm not a good listener. I feel bad about not being able to focus, and I carry this as a problem with my character. So that feeling of being a loser, or being not competent, or being not focused,
Yeah.
it travels with me from one conversation to the
Somebody's
next
here.
task. Is this the door?
Yeah.
The door sounds like a phone. This
It's
is
an
a phone.
intercom, you know?
Oh, I see. Okay.
I feel that I should sit up, and I gave everyone just like this weird, like, bleh.
Legs. This is our feet. Let's call this the Soul Podcast. Souls.
Okay.
I forgot what I was talking about.
You were talking about feeling badly
Oh.
when you don't focus.
And that would make me feel like I don't want to live.
What?
When it accumulates over time. Because you're so, hey Sam, I'm going to give you directions to the, I'm lost. And somebody give me direction. And I learned this, that ADHD people don't know, like they like to see the instructions written down, step by step. When people tell me, oh, okay, so you walk down that street and then take a right next to the mosque and then take a left next to this mall, I'm lost after he told me take a left into the mosque, because I'm trying to imagine what the mosque looks like.
Me too.
So that I come back and like I miss the entire instructions, and I'm like, okay, I
Yeah.
got it, thank you, bye.
No, I have a lot of trouble when people like list out instructions.
Oh yeah, but I didn't know that was an issue
Yeah.
until I read more about ADHD. Same way I didn't know that there would be memory issues. That's why I'm always forgetful.
Yeah.
Even before weed, it was because the ADHD you don't retain.
I read
to
this
memories.
funny story that there's this ADHD conference that happens every year, and the staff at the hotel always has extra room keys ready because they know everyone's gonna lose their room key and like not know where they are and whatever.
I'm so broke. Okay, a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
I got this weird mail through U.S. mail that says, "Oh, hi, we're the IRS department. We owe you $1,200. Just call us in this number. We'll send you a check again." Great. Okay. And then I went back to my room. Finally, money. It's official. IRS logo.
It's real?
Yeah. 100% barcode. My social
Because
security
my
number.
immediate thought was like, this
No,
is
no,
a scam.
It was part of when the pandemic happened and we were getting all the EDD money. When I paid my taxes, I paid $1,000.
Yeah.
And then they revised the tax exemptions, and then they said, no, you can't take this money back. But I didn't find the check. I forgot about it. I thought
Yeah.
it was a scam. Anyways, so came back a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I have the mail. My life depends on it. Like, I need this money.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, I have no idea where the mail is, where the piece of paper is.
Okay.
And I spend my entire day pulling every document
Yeah, I would
in the
too.
room. Where is the paper? Where is the paper? And what do you think my
It's insane that we even
self-talk-
use paper. Oh yeah, I would be like, I'm such
What
an
myself-
idiot. I
yeah.
can't believe I thought I lost this. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would do
and
the same
then
thing.
you go and if this is happening every day, if this is happening where I was at the Nook working doing hosting the mics, and
Yeah.
I'm closing up, and I go where the keys in my hand and a
Yeah.
bunch of trash. I open the trash, empty my hands, and close the trash, and spend the next 20 minutes looking for the keys
Yeah,
until I discover that, oh yeah, I threw them in the garbage.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't thinking.
yeah.
What do you think I think? What do you think
No,
my
the
image of
same
myself
way.
is?
I'm the
awful.
same way. I'm
So
the same way.
yeah, it makes me suicidal because it's like you're a
Oh,
loser. You can't
well,
even keep keys.
I feel
You
that
can't
way,
keep-
but I don't let it impact my overall self-esteem.
Hmm.
Like, I beat myself up about it, but then
That's
I
a
still like
superpower.
myself.
Oh no, I beat myself up to the point of you're a piece of shit.
Huh.
You
no,
you
well,
got
okay,
laughs.
but what I think is, but then you believe it.
I don't know about. Yeah, I mean there is belief in that, but it's like this 90% belief that there is a 10% that can veto the 90.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? Like in a way, I know deep down that this does not make sense.
yeah,
But it's not the loud voice. The loud voice is you suck. You
Yeah.
drop the ball so many times. Who's gonna listen to you?
Why don't you view yourself holistically the way you view other people?
Because it's easier to love other people than to love myself. So,
All right.
And even that is to an extent until they annoy me. Until bye. It's
Because
a joke.
like I think people mess up, but that doesn't have to be a judgment on their character.
I'm realizing that 95% of my problems are because of my mother. And that's how that's her relationships. This is my best friend. He's great. We love this man. He's been stood next to us.
Yeah.
And then within 2 weeks, fuck this guy. He said this and he didn't, and fuck him. I'm never talking to him again.
Oh.
So almost in a way that got internalized in me
Yeah.
is that, oh, you're going to hurt me? Bye.
Right.
I don't have-
But also the idea of one mistake is then you're
Yeah,
done.
you're going to hurt me? Bye. I can't take more.
Yeah.
I can't. We're not going to go through this again. Which again, all of these things I'm aware of, I'm working on, but at the same time, they're still. I'm playing always like a voices game of like
Yeah.
this voice is the loudest now.
Yeah.
The other voices are loud but not loud enough.
Yeah.
So I stay somewhere in the middle where it's crazy and sane, the two idiots. My mom, like I think my dad, his personality is like a calm pond.
Really?
In the middle, yeah. So in the middle. And then my mom's personality is a screaming meteor from outer space.
Yeah.
My personality is that lake when the meteor goes through it.
Okay.
It's like a mix of both.
Yeah.
But chaotic
Yeah.
in it. It's that I have both sides of I see the crazy and I also at the same time have an equally loud sane
Those images were
voice
good
next to
again.
it.
They were
Oh,
good
really?
Images. Good images.
I felt the chaos in the end was not really that strong.
No, the meteor and the lake are
The
good.
meteor and the lake and go, but
Yeah. Yeah.
something there. It's poetry, you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Life is so much more complicated than they tell you it's going to be.
You said this yesterday, and I felt that's exactly how I feel. They sold
I feel it
as
all the
easy
time.
and
I'm
joy,
like,
and I'm
they
like, it's
just
fucking hard. It's
Sell
fucking
it
hard
as
and
so
keeps
many
getting
things.
harder.
They also just sell you a lot of like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? As though growing up is like this finite thing where everything gets settled and that's that.
Yeah.
You know, but
I am the age now where like you do this a lot where you think now your age when your parents had you.
oh, I'm
think
well
of-
past that.
I'm 6 years past. It's not that
Yeah.
far. But a lot of times I would look at their actions like something that I carry from childhood. That I'm like, why did they do that? And then you frame it in they were 23.
Yeah, they didn't
She
fucking
didn't know
know.
better.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like children. You're making children be parents.
We also don't have training for all of the things that we need training for. Like, why the fuck did I learn calculus A, B? And we don't learn like communication skills or like how to be a
Taxes.
parent if you're
Yeah.
going to be a parent or how to do taxes. But
How to sign up for the right
but like
insurance
I
policy.
used to know about sine and cosine. So thank God, you know,
Oh, I don't even know
I
that.
don't even remember
Do you
either.
understand how hard it is for me to be a complete foreigner and come to this land where they don't explain to you things?
Oh, I can't. I honestly can't imagine.
I'm like, what?
I
No
can't
one knows.
imagine. No, I cannot imagine. My building in New York was very Puerto Rican, and at one point, and it was rent stabilized, the building. At one point, they offered us each $10,000 to move, and a lot of people took it. And I was like, fuck, they don't even understand that A, they don't have to take it. B, they could ask for more. C, the government's going to take half that money. I was just like, these people are being abused, you know? But it's like, how would you, I think about that a lot. Like, I don't know how the fuck you would know how to navigate the system. I have a good friend who likes to present herself as very cool, but she's actually like a secret good person, and it's sort of funny. So I'm like, why are you keeping this a secret? But like, she was doing this for like a year or two before I knew that she was actually volunteering. This is the same friend who is from Russia, and her ID card said Jewish instead of Russian. But she would go volunteer with these old Russian women to help them pass their citizenship tests. But I like didn't know she was doing this for years. I was like, that's amazing. But it's like, yeah, they don't
I thought
speak
you were an
English.
asshole.
Like, no, I mean, I knew she wasn't an asshole, but she like, you know, she's like secretly painting and like not telling anyone about it. You know what I mean? But she's like very corporate in her life. But yeah, no, unbelievable. The things you'd have to navigate in another language and not understand, like, because I feel like it's not just the language barrier. It's the like,
It's the logistics of the
it's
system.
the rigmarole
fine
of the.
prints and like I suffered through this with my insurance where I discovered that I had insurance for 7 years that does not have collision covered in it. And then you discover that no, yeah, they do it this way, that they send you the package
Yeah.
by default, not with collision, and has something that they would never pay,
Yeah,
which is called the uninsured driver
yeah.
policy. Where
Yeah.
they, if
You
an
find out
insured
you have the
driver-
wrong thing when you're fucked. Yeah.
Yep.
I
This is
probably
it.
have
I
the
learn
wrong.
about the system through fuckery.
I probably have the wrong auto insurance situation.
Speaking of which, my
Cars
bladder
are
is about
so
to explode.
expensive. Yeah, also we gotta go explore San Francisco and stuff. Go for a
Okay.
walk.
Do you have anything to plug? Any of your 10,000 upcoming shows? This is your moment
September
to talk about it to the other 15 viewers.
September 29th, I'm creating a new show called Love Isn't Blind. I'm gonna have men compete for a woman, Little Mermaid style. They can't speak.
Okay.
I've scared off all the men, but I think I actually finally found some good contestants, and it's going to be a big experiment. We'll see how it goes.
There's a website for this?
Loveisn'tblind.co. The
Okay.
.com was taken.
Ooh.
Fuck those people.
What are they doing?
There's nothing there. It's just like the website's like just not available. I don't know. Someone's sitting on it. Loveisn'tblind.co.
That's the first show.
I also am doing a new hour of stand-up October 7th in San Francisco at the Battery. And, well, I have a podcast I do every week called Two Girls, One Podcast with the Daily Dot. And then I have something else launching that
There's
I
a
can't
lot of
talk
stuff
about.
brewing.
Too many. I need to take a nap.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you should take more Zoloft.
Well, no,
definitely have
here's what
anxiety.
I need to be reminded. When I'm freaking out that I don't have enough to do and I'm staring at my computer trying to come up with something, you need to remind me there will be months where it's insane. So why don't you fucking enjoy doing
that
nothing,
later.
you dumb bitch?
Or just like, this is on the burner for, like, you put it on queue.
Yeah.
When time is slow, I'll do this.
Yeah.
I wanna give this podcast a proper ending, but I can hear the veins in my bladder about to tear. I need to go pee. This was so much fun. This is Alison Goldberg.
Good day.
And I'm just gonna leave her to do like some Jewish stuff before I leave.
What?
After I leave, so we're just gonna leave the camera on. She did like the Russian Jewish part too. Is this Russian?
No, that's
They have a some. So there's a Russian melody that's very close to this.
probably. I actually don't know. We have like no Russian culture in my family. My grandparents spoke Yiddish.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which actually Yiddish is a very fascinating thing, but I'll tell you off air because you got to go
Okay.
pee.
Oh, she can talk about Yiddish while I go pee.
Okay,
This was fun.
Yiddish is dying, and our grandparents were like, "We're Americans now. We're never going to speak Yiddish again." But now nobody speaks Yiddish, and it'd be so fucking cool if our grandparents had taught us Yiddish, because then I'd have a secret language with every fucking Jew.
Do you know what's the name of the guy who spills the soup and he spills it on the other one? The shmil and the shamazel, lamazel. You don't know that one?
No, I don't know this.
Okay, I'm gonna take away her Jewish card after this.
Okay,
The shmil and the shamazel, I forgot.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's like one of them would spill. The shmil is the guy who spills. He's so clumsy that he spills his soup.
Yeah.
And the shmazel is the guy who the soup gets spilled on him.
Okay.
Never mind. I was just like, it was such a nice Jewish Yiddish
And
thing that was like, it's
scene.
great. That was it. We end
Scene.
with weird. Bye.
Goodbye.